Welcome to the Curi-Cancha Nature Reserve, one of Monteverde's hidden treasures. This is Minaz. You may remember her from my Tenorio Volcano video. Anyway, after seeing that, she realized that one of my videos needed more of her leading lady looks. And when she said leading lady, I went like, what do you mean leading lady for Bollywood? And at that point, the look on her face told me that I had totally put my foot in my mouth, so I just shut up and I used her for this video and none of me. Joking aside though, Minaz is Indian. She was born and raised in Kenya. She currently lives in Wales, and she spent the last year traveling South America. She's definitely an international talent, and I'm thrilled to have her in my video. So Curi-Cancha is actually a pretty new reserve. It's only about 30 years old, so it's actually, kind of undiscovered. It's near the cloud forest, but cheaper and less busy, which I definitely enjoyed. And it's got about 7 total kilometers of trails, so you can definitely wear yourself out. Minaz and I walked most of it. As you can see, it's absolutely beautiful and fun to look at. So there was a big variety. They had both primary forest, secondary forest, and also land that had been previously for cows. So it's all pretty much absolutely beautiful. So as you can see, she and I walked around. We did hire a guide, which I'm very glad that we did because it enabled us to see birds. So there's David in the back. We're about to introduce him formally in a second, but I want to show this little close-up of whatever that is. It looks like stitches. So anyway, this is David. He was our guide. He was amazing. He is a birder, and by birder I mean he absolutely loves birds. You're going to see some of his enthusiasm here. I mean, look, he's actually genuinely excited to look at these birds even though he's seen them a million times. So that was contagious for us, so we did enjoy it. He shows a bunch of birds, and more of that later. I'll show you the birds. I have a special bird section. I just wanted to show this is what it's cool. This is what it's like to have a guide, so I would definitely encourage you to spend the extra 20 bucks if you want to see those animals. In addition to that, we did have a nice quiet walk, and we got to see beautiful sights and take it in, which Minaz did there. That's the ghost orchid, which is pretty rare, so that's very cool. Neat to see. There's like 1,000 orchids in Costa Rica, and that's one of them. This is a plant that I kind of like because a bunch of different animals use it. It's kind of like the nature's water fountain. And this is a pond that we went to. There was an armadillo here that I tried to get footage of. I just couldn't get it, so it didn't make the video, and I was kind of sad because being a Texan, I definitely wanted to include the armadillo, but it doesn't always happen. So as you can see, we went down a bunch of paths like this, and I hope you've seen by now there is a variety of different kind of stuff to see. Here's a waterfall, which we definitely enjoyed. It sounded beautiful. It was very relaxing. So now we're going to get to the Ficus Tree, which you can see you can actually walk into because it's hollow and it's very interesting. Look up. It's pretty crazy. So I just want you to think about that because how many other trees are like that? And now you definitely might be wondering how that happened. So I'm going to explain this to you with a little special mini video. Alright, so you might be wondering how a ficus tree is formed. And I'd like to explain it to you using a metaphor starring my good friend Dex Ellison. Dex Ellison is an awesome politician. He's honest, authentic, answers questions. He's great. He's what you would call a root tree. Now, eventually, something might come along and defecate on Dex's head. And if that happens, roots are going to start growing down from the top down to the bottom. Eventually, these roots are going to completely cover Dex. And eventually, sometime in the future, the original Dex will completely rot and disappear, and he'll be replaced by something that's very strong and hollow. And that's how a ficus tree is formed. Okay, so let's look at some birds. Every guide has a telescope, and as you can see right now, Minaz is checking out a beautiful bird, and she's definitely into it. She's wondering, and definitely enjoyable. So anyway, over the course of this trip, we did see quite a few birds, thanks to David. He pointed them all out. Some of them were obvious, like this one here, and others were a little bit harder to find. So one of the cool things that a guide will do, if you want, is they will actually take your phone and take pictures through their telescope. They're really experienced at it. So even though I'm obviously an experienced person with a camera, they are much better at it. So if you want a bunch of pictures of birds, you can. So in this case, I'm using my long lens, focusing in. So it's a little bit shaky, but just deal with it. This is a little something or other that we saw that we liked. It was actually in a spider web, so Minaz felt the need to save it. This is something that kind of looks like a combination between a monkey, a cat, and an anteater. This was a millipede, which both David and Minaz said, you better say it right. So it's millipede. So anyway, it had a hard shell, I pet it. It was pretty cool. So yeah, cool enough that it made the video for 3 total shots. So these were a bunch of butterflies that David scared off for us, but he said they go back to the same place in 15 seconds. So watch here, it's gonna go in a second. And surprise, there they all go. So anyway, that's fun to see. And like I said, since they go back, so it's like they do a show every 15 minutes, and they did a show for us. This is a hummingbird, so I was happy to get this thing because these things fly. So there's another one. So there's a bunch of beautiful butterflies, but trying to film a butterfly is darn near impossible. So I tried a bunch of times, and none of those shots are good enough to make this video. But I will encourage you to enjoy that. So let's get some more Manaz in there. This is her being a tree hugger, though she tried to convince me it's a yoga pose. I'm not sure if I believe her. And here she's looking for some butterflies because she did love butterflies, and there's some big blue ones. So she's walking around, and I totally feel like a voyeur right now, but then again, I'm a guy who uses a camera, and I basically always am a voyeur. So anyway, that is my Curi-Cancha video. I hope you enjoyed it. After looking at all these birds, I was starving, so I went and ate some fried chicken. Thanks for watching.